So it's a real pleasure to be attending or to be coming for the closure of this 10th Information Day organized by A.I.S.E. I'm particularly happy that the topic of today has been chosen because I think the safe use of products, safe use of chemicals in particular, are actually a topic of real importance. And the classification, labeling, packaging regulation, CLP, is a key piece of legislation in this framework. It's a key piece of legislation. I was hearing about the possible objectives we're trying to achieve, but actually I think, as Jacques De Bruyne, another well-known face, was mentioning, what we want to achieve is better information, but above all, better safety of chemicals. And we also want to achieve trust in chemicals. Some progress has been made with REACH. I mean, we made some polls, actually, that confirm not only that people feel better or safer than in the past, for whatever reason. We tend very proudly to think that REACH is not completely absent of these elements, at least psychologically, but they also feel, which is something quite interesting, that they're better protected in the European Union than elsewhere, and which we feel is a good thing. So it's a key legislation, but not only for consumers, it's key legislation as well for manufacturers, because CLP is actually something which is directly inherited from GHS. And its purpose and its global objective is to be global, or to fulfill global, to be a global model, European model for an implementation of a global scheme. And manufacturers are always in favor of open trade. So are we in DG Enterprise industry. And I think that from that point of view, it's not only about safety, it's also about global market. So it's also about clear and unambiguous hazard communication. So we've already come a long way since the entry into force of the legislation back in 2009. By the end of 2010, all hazardous substances were required to be adequately classified and labeled. Companies have submitted notifications. We thought we had beaten all records with REACH, with the notifications and pre-notifications, but actually CLP was beat all records. ECHA received then 6 million notifications. We're still scratching our heads to understand how the IT system didn't collapse. And they were related actually to more than 120,000 substances. So various sectors have already started implementing the new CLP done pictograms. Some have already discovered challenges. We were discussing recently with the people producing cement and using cement bags. And as you know, the background of the pictogram has to be white, which is rarely the case for cement bags. So you see, we discover issues that were not to be discovered, or that would not be thought upon earlier on. But our colleagues who were present in the UN were wise enough even to describe the color of the background of the pictogram. Unfortunately, they were not thinking of cement bags. So that's. However, we recognize that despite all the work done, we recognize that most significant changes and challenges are still ahead of us. In fact, the deadline for classification mixtures in June 2015 is approaching very fast. We're very conscious of that. And we'll also experience next year, and in 2015, the end of the transition period from the old directives for dangerous substances and preparations, and the mandatory introduction of the new CLP hazard communication. And these changes are both for companies and the general consumers. There are, and we are aware of that, a particular challenge for SMEs, like all this REACH and CLP block. First, I'd like to touch upon the challenges for companies. For company, it is a two-step process. Firstly, They need to be aware of the new requirements, and that's one of the things where we actually, that's why we're spreading the word as much as we can. We're not finished yet. We count on you to spread the word as well, all the associations, member states, actually to make sure that the message comes across. The big guys, they know. I mean, we're not that worried, but we want to actually reach out to the small ones who might not be aware of what the Commission is cooking in its corner, who might not have direct access to all the information tools of ECHA, too often in English, if I might say. But that's almost become a private joke between ECHA and ourselves. But I mean, that's a standard discussion we have. So the deadline is still 18 months roughly ahead of us, but we should not undermine the work that needs to be done. They need to reclassify, they need to relabel, they need to think of that early enough so that they don't get stuck with a stock of old labels which they cannot use, or products labeled in the old way which they cannot use anymore. And SMEs, of course, they are of a small size, they might not be fully aware. I hope they are by now, but we're still trying to make them aware. But they may also be involved, and that's one of the particular challenges, that even if you're an SME, you might be involved in manufacture or the distribution of quite a large number of mixtures. And therefore, it's important, if you are in touch with them as well, to let them know about their obligations. In order to convey the message and make them aware of the new requirements, we plan on our side a number of outreach initiatives. We're perfectly conscious that we can't do it alone, but we want to play our role. We know about the many channels. We know about the supporting activities. The chambers of commerce were mentioned. It depends very much on the structure of each member state. So use whatever is the most suitable in the various member states. Industrial federations might be in some, chambers of commerce might be in others. The local or regional authorities might be of help as well. It's very good that the A.I.S.E demonstrates its commitment. I mean, that's actually, I'm not aware of any other initiative of that type by other industrial federation. Again, you are the forefront, so congratulations for that. And since you're the first ones and you are front runners, we can only offer you our cooperation. I'm a humble sign of it today, but if you need more of us, don't hesitate. We'll do our best. We'll try to disseminate the message as widely as possible. On our side, we plan to organize a workshop for multipliers on mid-September next year, together with our colleagues from ECHA, with a particular emphasis to reach out SMEs. Awareness is, however, only the first step. I mean, if you're not aware, you don't do much, but if you're aware, it's not a guarantee that you are doing much more. So the next stage is that companies have to meet the requirements, and they need to correctly classify and label their products. And working together for them will probably be a very good approach to achieve this goal. This is actually why the CLP regulation foresees such possibility for cooperation. Otherwise, our colleagues in DG competition might actually not like cooperation. So in writing the regulation, we made sure that it was foreseen there. I see that Susanne is laughing because it might remind her of some other experiences of the past. Such cooperation can take different forms, including data sharing. Data sharing from validated test methods will make it easier for companies to classify their mixtures based on similar reference mixtures. And this may avoid also the need to generate data on each new mixture, which would be both costly and which would certainly not the best way to do that. I'm also in charge of the European Partnership for Alternatives to Animal Testing. We always, so if we can avoid generating too many tests, we're certainly not against it. So therefore, congratulations for launching the DetNet initiative as a voluntary initiative of the detergents industry. Congratulations as well to keep it open to companies who want to come in. The accurate classification will of course be of great importance both to industry and consumers. And therefore, I'd like also to welcome the objective of DetNet to generate data based on validated and recognized test methods. First, it's safe, it's better if you want to avoid discussions and problems later on, but it's also important for us. And it's also quite important that you decided to share it with all detergent companies, multinationals and SMEs alike. The second point I'd like to address is awareness among general consumers, among general public, among consumers. Once we get closer to June 2015 and the deadline that's linked to it, it will be important to also raise awareness among the general public on the meaning of the new pictograms. I think on the meaning of the new pictograms, also on the effort you produced to inform them correctly. I think the consumers are also gaining when they know that industry is not trying to cheat them, but is trying actually to help them with the information provided. And you play a very important role in that. You are the only ones who can really inform consumer. In Brussels, we're very often described as people who are being far away of everything, especially of the European citizens. It's not true. But we're still not in close contact with the consumers. So you're the best place to do that. And from that point of view, your initiative as to the Read the Label initiative is also a very good thing and actually can serve that purpose as well. Can make the consumers aware of the new labeling, help them understanding them. We had a test actually in DG Enterprise recently where we had a small test to check within our own services, come on, the people in charge of CLP, whether they understood the pictograms. I don't want to give the results. So there's still work to do. The only thing I can say that there's still work to do. We should also use the 2015 deadline as an occasion to think about how we can communicate to consumers about the safe use of chemicals in general. We are getting there, but I think we are not there yet. I believe that's an important subject for all of us on the long run, how we can actually better inform consumers about the safe use of chemicals, what is in chemicals, how they are produced, how they're made, their level of safety. And that's also how we will gain trust, or you will gain trust, because at the end of the day, that's your job as well, in the products on the market. I'm sure you've got plenty of good ideas, and I'm sure some were also mentioned today in this respect, but we have to think further and see how we can together actually work on that and create synergies to optimize not only the way the regulations function, but also the way companies and consumers can actually make the most out of them. So ideas welcome, offer of cooperation. What can I say else? Nothing. Congratulations, go on, and we're there on your side. Thanks.